Hi, this is a little intro to the video Legal Downsides of Living in a Car. I did that video a while back. Anyway, again, this is just a little intro. I wasn't too pleased with the picture, the video itself. It wasn't great, so I just didn't like the way it looked. Anyway, so I decided to add a little intro. I've already uploaded it on YouTube, but decided to upload it on Facebook, maybe a couple of other places, my blog. Anyway, so intro to legal downsides of living in a car, van, SUV, RV, boat, what have you, that kind of thing, tent camping, whatever you're doing. Hi, this is the video, Legal Downsides of Living in a Car. When I first did this video a few weeks ago, a couple months back, you know, I put it out there, and a lot of people, I talked to a few people, and a lot of people, they just didn't really, they didn't believe, didn't really believe me, I don't think. They didn't believe when I told them how, you can't just, if you're living in a car or living in a van or RV, SUV, whatever, a boat, you can't just use any address you want. You have to have a legal address, a home base, if you will, a piece of property that you own or rent. I mean, or, maybe you live with a family member, but you have to, you have to actually live with that family. If you use a family member, you actually have to live at with that family member. You have to go home once I don't know what the law says. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I'd say probably at least once a month and stay for, a week, a few days, something, It doesn't mean you could just say, hey, this is where I live, and they lie for you. And a lot of times, of course, family won't lie for you. And initially when I did the video, I did say, I did highly recommend using a family member, because that is probably the best option. If you have no other options, then a family member or a friend is probably your only option. However, I've since kind of revised my idea on that because if something ever happens, no family member or friend is going to want to get involved. So if you don't actually live there, like as in come home once a week or once every 2 or 3 weeks or a month at least, and stay for a week, stay for a few nights, sleep there, your stuff's there, you get your mail there, live there, then that's not, they're not going to lie. And they're not going to lie and say, what you do, sleep there, live there, and sleep there, when you don't. So I've since revised my idea on that. And since that time, I have also did a little research, and I actually want to do a whole blog post on this, because, not a blog post. I actually do like to blog, but a whole video on this, because I think it's very interesting. Anyway, since that time, after doing a little research, I found out that Nevada, in Nevada, you only have to stay at you can stay at a campground for 30 days, and then head to the DMV and show them your receipt, and they will give you a driver's license, and they call that residency. In South Dakota, it is 1 night. Stay at a motel, campground, whatever, they call it residency. And in those states, that's legal. And pretty much every other state in the U.S., though, it's not. You can't stay at a campground and call it residency. You can't stay in an efficiency. I know a few years back, when I was living in Michigan, I lived in an efficiency apartment, and I went to the DMV to get my driver's license. I was pulled over, and the police officer told me I needed to get my license. So I did, at least I tried anyway. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my license, because the DMV, or Secretary of State as it is in Michigan, told me that didn't qualify as residency. So I was kind of out of luck, And they also told me that I really didn't want to get my license. I needed to just keep them in North Carolina. And eventually I did go back to North Carolina, so that wasn't a big issue. But anyway, they didn't call it efficiency, residency. And they told me preferably, they preferred people that owned their own property there. Anyway, paying taxes, all that good stuff. But anyway, so when I first put this video out, a lot of people ignored me, they kind of poo-pooed me, they were like, you can just do whatever you want, and most people just either ignored me or didn't really, they didn't really listen. They just thought that it was, crap. It's not crap. It's not funny. It's not crap. I'm not making this stuff up. Using an address that you don't actually live at, it is a felony in most states, and others it may be a misdemeanor, but in some states it's a felony. And so if you use a family member's address and you don't actually live there, and they can prove you don't actually live there, or the family member breaks down and tells the truth, you could be charged with a felony. And I know a lot of people, when I first put this video out, and I talked to a few people and posted on some other, stupidly posted on some other, YouTubers' channels under their videos, and giving them my 2 cents worth, because I feel like the people need to be aware. But everybody just ignored me. They thought, they think it's crap. It's just made up. They think I don't know what I'm talking about. But unfortunately, I do know what I'm talking about. I know from personal experience. Not myself, because not me, but I have I do have a cousin, and she did try this. Oh no, she didn't actually try it. I take that back. She, actually, like me, she mostly lives in an RV. I think at the time she did live on her boat too for a while, but she mostly does live in an RV. But she also lives at, in her case, she lived at a marina on her, she lived on her boat at a marina. And, she gave the marina address because that's where her boat was docked. That's where she lived. Well, they came back and said, no, that's not residency, and charged her with a felony. And she does live on her boat. But their argument was that the boat could be moved. She could, start it up, drive it away. So it's not residency, because you can't start a house up and drive it away. So that was, anyway, and I know, and she's been through it for a long time, and she's still in the court system. She's still battling the whole thing. I mean, she has proof she lives on her boat, but, they don't care, the legal system doesn't care. I mean, if you get caught up in the legal system, they really don't care. They just, and they only see things in black and white. There is no gray areas. So they look at the law and they go, and I mean, 150 years ago when all these statutes were written, people didn't live on their boats. People didn't live in RVs. People didn't, have a piece of property, a piece of land, and have an RV parked on it, And even then, they can argue that that's not residency. I mean, things weren't the way, things were different then. But anyway, so, like I said, I got poo-pooed. A lot of people, they don't want to hear it. They think that, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. And for anyone who watches this video, if you ever do get caught up in the legal system, hopefully you will remember, well, it won't do you any good if you get caught up in the legal system, because more than likely they'll put you in jail, and they will definitely take your driver's license away, which means that even if you're in a situation where you have to live in your vehicle, you won't be living in it. I'm afraid you'll be living in the woods, unless you can find a family member that takes pity. But anyway, and the original video follows this, where I go back into it. I really wanted to put it out there. I wanted people to know. I want people to be aware that, one, you can't make an address up. If you can't just live in your RV without a physical address, or live on your boat, or live anywhere, really, in a tent, whatever floats your boat, as per se. You can't just use whatever address you have to have a physical address. You have to have an address that you live at, or you live at and sleep at. That's the bottom line. You get your mail there. You pay your bills there. You have to have it. And I hope that did not show up on the video. I was just getting a phone call. I hope that did not show up. But anyway, like I said, I got poo-pooed, and a lot of people didn't want to hear it. But I do want to do a whole other video on this. Since that first video, I've done some research, as I said a few minutes ago. And anyway, one of the people that I watched a video, and I do want to do a future video on this. Not to bash this person, because I absolutely love his videos. I really do. That person is Bob Wells. I was looking at, actually reading his blog. I watch his videos too, but I was reading his blog, and, he was talking about how, if you don't have to get real ID, just, go out and just find a house, just find a house when it's for sale, maybe, and just use the address. But anyway, that's not legal. That's not legal. So don't follow that advice. That's bad advice. And I can assure you that if you have read that blog post, or watched a video, to that effect, Bob Wells and anyone else like him is not going to go do your time for you. So just remember that. But anyway, I kind of do want to do a whole video on it a little bit later. But now, as far as Bob Wells, he lives in Nevada. So it's easy for him. He actually lives at a campground, and in Nevada, that's legal. So, it's not really an issue. But again, Bob Wells and people like him are not going to do your time for you if you get caught. So if you follow that advice, and that's ill-advised advice, I might say, they're not going to go to jail for you. So, and if you watch any videos, not just him, but others too, or bloggers, articles, whatever, and you have you have questions, if you wonder about the legality of, and in Bob Wells' case, saying that just make an address up, or just go find an address, that everybody should know that's not legal. But if you do watch a video or read an article or a post and you are not sure if that's legal, then I suggest that you contact an attorney and find out if it's legal. Because only an attorney can tell you, a criminal attorney, but any attorney probably, can tell you whether it's legal or not. So if you have any, just call an attorney and ask them if you wonder if something's legal, then call an attorney. Or if you have to wonder if it's legal, you probably shouldn't do it. So anyway, after this video, the next video is going to be the main video that I did a few weeks back. It wasn't particularly a good video. I didn't like it. I did it with my phone, and I just wasn't really pleased with it. But anyway, the idea is the same. I still want, I still think people need to be aware, and I think a lot of people kind of ignored it, but that's okay. You're ignoring, because what I am saying is, I am right. It is good advice, and you can be charged with a felony if you make an address up, or, you need a home base. You need a place. You need a place that you live at. You rent, you own something, you have to have that. Or go to Nevada and live, or go take up residence in Nevada where you can stay at a campground for 30 days, or South Dakota where you can stay at a campground or a motel for 1 day. Or find some other state that allows that. But for the most part, I've not heard of any state that does that. Nevada and South Dakota are the only two I've heard. I have heard that Texas is a good place to have residency. I don't know anything about Texas. You'd have to look at their DMV website. But, if you happen to live on the East Coast, then and you don't want to move out west, then your only option is to abide by the law and you know, the laws of your state. And if the laws of your state say that you have to have a physical residence, you know, own or rent, then you're going to have to go out and own or rent. It's that simple. And that's about all I can say on the matter. I can't give you advice as to what you could or, you know, what you can do, because, you know, I can't tell you what you know, because anything I offered up other than that probably wouldn't be legal. So I can't offer that. But anyway, the next video coming up is going to be the original video of legal downsides of living in a car, SUV, van, RV, whatever. God bless. Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm brand new to all this. I've watched a whole bunch of videos on the whole living in a car, van, whatever. Anyway, but I'm brand new to actually talking about it. The main reason that I decided to do this video is, quite honestly, out of all the videos I've watched, it shows how to make the videos. It shows, you know, how to make a bed, how to cook, how to, you know, where to do your business. It shows all kinds of stuff. But there's one thing that no video so far has talked about, and that is addressing. Yeah, there are some videos out there that talk about, oh yeah, use a mail drop or whatever, but you know, something like that, whatever. The thing is, and I know from personal experience, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I will say this from personal experience. I know that none of that it's not, first off, using a mail drop is not legal. If you get pulled over, the officer's going to know as soon as he runs your information. He's going to know it's not right. Number two, and a lot of people don't realize this and don't know it, that this is one of the reasons I decided to make the video, because it's just, you know, a lot of people don't realize that living in a car, living in a van, whatever, and not having you know, especially for people that live in cars or vans all the time and don't have a house to go back to, or don't have someplace they can go. It's really important for those people. It's really important. For those people that do have a place to go back to, that's fine. You can prove you live there. You either own the property, you rent, whatever. You got a lease agreement, you can prove it. It's not that hard. But for people that are doing it full time, one of the things that people don't know and don't realize, as I just now stated, is that, one, it's not legal. And a lot of people don't realize the kind of trouble that they can get into. Not that it's going to change anything. There's a lot of people that are out there living in their cars or vans or whatever because of circumstances that they have no control over. So, anyway. So, this video is not about me bashing people for living in their cars, living in their vans, whatever. I've been traveling for 12 years, and off and on, I've stayed in my car. In fact, I've stayed in pretty much just resided in my car for weeks, months at a time sometimes. And then I'll go, you know, go home or go to my boyfriend's, or, you know, go to whatever I choose to do. But I do have someplace that I can stay. Now, a few years ago, after I left my ex-husband, I didn't. My house that I own, or rather I inherited from my dad when he passed, was occupied with renters. So I couldn't go there. And anyway, long story short, my problems all started with an ex-boyfriend. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, the whole point is that one, obtaining a driver's license without having a permanent address. If you renew your driver's license and use the last address that you resided at, you can be charged with obtaining property by false pretenses, which is a felony. A lot of people don't know this. Anyway, it's a felony. You can also be charged with driver's license fraud, along with being charged with, if you have to inspect or tag your vehicle, which most states do require you to tag your vehicle, at least tag it every year, you can, again, be charged with even more charges because you tagged your vehicle. So the list is, and that's kind of up to the, what they decide they want to hang on you really is kind of up to the discretion of the officer. Now, a lot of people may think that this is, they can't really do anything. Yes, they can do something. But it does require someone to get the ball rolling. All it requires is someone in the law enforcement community to start sniffing around and, checking you out. Another way that they can find out is if someone that you know, and that could be anybody. It could be a friend, a neighbor, a family member, someone you've done business with, anyone that you've had contact with, even online, someone you've had contact with that chooses to report it to your state's DMV. It's actually, in my state, DMV license and theft. And that's what they call it. If you use the same address that you used that was on your driver's license from, say, I don't know, when you had a place to live or you did reside at that address, and you go in and you tell the person, when you renew your driver's license, if you tell the person behind the desk that address is correct, or you don't inform them that that's no longer correct, unfortunately, if you tell them that you're living in your vehicle, you're not going to get a driver's license. It's also unfortunate that the powers that be, the government, Big Brother, they don't want anyone living on the road or living anywhere. They want people living in a house where they can be tracked, monitored. They know where they are. And by the way, I'm not some conspiracy theorist, but that's the bottom line. And if most people should know that the government and the powers that be want you somewhere where they know where you are. It's that simple. Anyway, the main reason I wanted to make this video, and I actually wanted to make a video and introduce myself first, tell everybody, because I'm brand new. I've been blogging for years, but I've never actually done the whole video thing. I write it down, I take pictures, but I don't I don't make a video about it. And this is kind of a rough video because I wanted to do a video where actually a little bit better video out here. I'm out here outside of a Dollar Tree. In Georgia. I actually wanted to make a video that's a little better, and I need, I guess, something, and where I look a little better, but something where it's, a little, I don't know, just better. But, and where I'm kind of following a little bit of an outline. I have, a few bullet points of what I want to do, what I want to say, but I just decided this was it. I was sitting here and I said, this is it. I want to, and my video, and by the way, I'm not interested in, at least not right now, showing people how, how I live, how I sleep, when I'm in my car, how I sleep, all that. I'll go into that later. But I wanted to get this out and just let everyone know that this is something a lot of people don't and aren't familiar with. And it's in every state. It's in every state that you go to. I don't care what state you're in. you're going to have this issue. So, anyway, I think that's about it. I don't want to make this a really, really extremely long video. I just want to inform everybody, or anyone who wants to watch the video, or at least put it out there, that you need to be mindful. I mean, number one, and this is these are the recommendations on the internet. Find a family member that will allow you to use their address. That's the most obvious one. That's obvious. Or a friend or someone. If you never need to show proof, that might be a little more difficult. But at least, you got someone, if you can use a family member's address or a friend or something, at least if something ever does come down the pipe, at least they can say, yeah, they can use my address, whatever. Or when they come back to town, this is where they stay. This is where they live for however long it is that they're back home or back here. But just using these mail drops and all that stuff, that's really not going to cut it. I mean, a lot of people think it does, and a lot of people think it will, but it really won't. At least it won't in a lot of states. I mean, states where the law enforcement officers actually can look up the actual place you're living, and most of them probably can, they're going to know that that's not an actual residence. So, that's a ticket right there at the very least. And people that are living in their cars, I would say probably don't have the money to pay a $200 ticket. Anyway, as far as, and this applies to, and I'm going to say right off the bat, this applies to pretty much anyone living in whatever kind of vehicle that they are living in. It can be an RV, a car, a van, even a boat. And actually, I found more information on some of the boating forums. Actually, when I go back home, that is where I live. I live on a boat. Not a boat that belongs to me. I wish. Belongs to a friend. Anyways, I pay him rent. Anyway, a very small amount of rent, thank God, because I am on the road a lot, traveling, going places. I love to take pictures, and so I'm out here a lot, but some of the time I'm not. Just anyways, as far as how I do it, I'll go into that later. But for now, I've actually found, back to my original point, I've actually found a lot of information on the boating forums. They offer quite a bit of information as far as addressing. Again, anyone that talks about, RV forums are another good one. But they talk about the mail drops. Those aren't really, I don't think those are, I mean, anyone who wants to try it, you can try it, see what happens. But you get pulled over, you can roll the dice and hope the officer is too stupid to, to go look at the computer. Which he won't be. But that's, you can just roll the dice and see what happens. But again, my personal recommendation is a friend or a family member. But if you don't have that, then you may have to look into other alternative ways to get a permanent address. There are ways around it, but they're not exactly legal, so I can't go into those, and probably wouldn't recommend it because it's not legal. So, but as far as I can't really tell you what to do as far as an address. Like I said, boating forums offer a lot of information. RV forums offer a lot of information, and there's probably a lot of other information out there on other sites that I haven't looked at. Anyway, but just to let you know, if it's unfortunate, I'm sure that there are other people that have encountered this problem, but that have encountered this problem that can probably give a lot more information about it. Anyway, I didn't mean for this video to be quite this long. Anyway, like I said, driver's license fraud. Now, in my state, it's a misdemeanor, so not so bad. But it can still carry some jail time. Obtaining property by false pretenses is very serious, and in my state, it's a felony, and it's probably a felony everywhere, and it carries up to 3 years in prison. So I'm not sure I'd want to roll the dice and take my chances on that, because anyway, this is just to let everybody know, and it's a warning that, you know, if you're living in your car, your van, and you don't have a permanent address, there's always a possibility that if law enforcement sniffs around, a friend turns you in, or anything, that you could be facing driver's license fraud, obtaining property by false pretense. And this video is not made to like scare anybody, but to make people aware that it is out there, so that if they did use their last address that they no longer reside at and have no intention of going back to, that it's not legal. Anyway, I don't want to make this video any longer, and it's kind of dark out here. It's not the best. Anyway, so I'm just going to close, and I will be back hopefully later, and I will give you a rundown of a little bit more about me, who I am, why I'm here, and, you know, a little bit more about my arrangements and what's going on. So hopefully I'll be back later. Bye-bye.